National Declassification Centre normally does 2 special projects per year, declassifying special topics in response to public requests. In September 2011, the National Archives responded to that letter to President Barack Obama by Representative Massacre and Representative Daniel Lipinski on behalf of the Katyn Council, requesting the identification, declassification, and public release of all records of permanent value in the custody of the US government relating to the events at Katyn. The National Archives, via the National Declassification Centre, subsequently made it this priority. The special effort has led to the declassification of over 1,000 pages not previously released to the public, and the launch of a project to highlight Katyn material being declassified at the National Archives since the 1970s. Special requests like this and other special projects, like last year's Pentagon Papers release, pose quite a challenge. Before documents complete the declassification process, only very few researchers are permitted access to the national security information that they contain. So it makes sense for the National Archives to prioritize the description of records already available to the public more highly than the description of classified material. We archivists usually know which office created the records and to which years the records pertain, but often not much else. Understanding the way the files are organized, by subject, by date, by project, is a good beginning, but being able to grasp where a particular piece of information may be stored among millions of pages can take years of searching. Before records are clearly understood, whether they are classified, declassified, or unclassified, it is frequently difficult even to know where to begin a search. The National Archives at large is working hard to create descriptions of the records that it holds in order to make them accessible to researchers. But understanding the 4 billion pages, nearly 300,000 reels of motion picture film, more than 5 million maps, charts, architectural drawings, more than 200,000 sound and video recordings, over 9 million aerial photographs, nearly 14 million still pictures, and around 7,600 computer data sets is going to take time and energy, and the process is ongoing. To target our search for classified documents pertaining to Katyn in the vast holdings of the National Archives, the NDC turned to unclassified groups of records that are well understood and described. Throughout this project, we examined more than 25 different record groups representing at least 25 separate originating offices, locating unclassified documents, photographs, and motion pictures concerning Katyn in 18 of them. By learning which groups of unclassified records contained Katyn material, we were then able to attempt to identify classified records withheld during the declassification process that may contain information related to Katyn. We accomplished this by correlating the unique identification number for the declassified file series, called aptly the declassification project number, to information withheld during that declassification project because the information in the withheld documents was at the time still sensitive. Sometimes all we had to go on was that project number, and when this occurred, we would check to see if any of the material from that project remained classified and read through as much of it was feasible to determine whether it related to Katyn. Sometimes we were luckier and found a withdrawal slip. Withdrawal slips contain targeted information about individual documents that remain classified, such as the creator and the recipient, the date, or the topic. When we encountered a withdrawal slip, especially in folders we knew contained other Katyn material, we were able to focus our search on locating only those documents most likely to be relevant to the search, therefore creating greater efficiency in our process. Some of our work was targeted by tips from colleagues. One of the data entry staff at the NDC noticed records relating to General Clayton Bissell in investigation files created by the US Air Force. Another tip took us to files compiled in Austria, where certain witnesses had resettled after World War II. These tips added to the total number of pages we knew were relevant to our project. Casting a wide net and using both of these approaches, we were able to identify more than 1,500 pages to be considered for declassification review. This review scours the documents for what we term equities, information deemed to be the purview of particular agencies or departments of the US government. For example, the testimony provided by an eyewitness could belong to one of our intelligence agencies if it had come under US control via a protected intelligence source. The information is then shown to that agency so that a decision can be made by them as to whether the public release of the information will continue to cause damage to national security. If damage will still occur upon release, the information is withheld and remains classified. If there is no damage to national security, if the documents are made public, they are declassified. The review process usually takes months, even years, but once all agencies agree that a document is no longer sensitive, it is released to the public. During special review, because we are prioritizing the declassification of certain information in response to a public request, we ask our equity holding agencies to move material flagged for this special project to the head of their work queues and to be especially sensitive to the strong public interest in these documents. The NDC had cooperation from declassification reviewers in many different agencies for this project, and because of that cooperation, we were able to declassify more than 1,000 unique pages of Katyn material not previously released to the public. Every document that we declassified during this project has been scanned, and we have additionally scanned over 100 unclassified and previously declassified documents identified in cooperation with research services. These digitized documents are, as of this morning, available online to anyone with an internet connection via the Archival Research Catalog. Instructions for how to access our Archival Research Catalog are printed on our posters and are available on our black and white flyers. Additionally, our project now has a web page on archives.gov, again live as of this morning, and there is a link from that web page to our declassified documents. This web page also has a link to a PDF finding aid, a list of the file subsections where we have been able to locate Katyn documents, which we have again compiled in conjunction with research services. Any additional Katyn documents identified in future will follow this expedited process for release, to be added to the finding aid and to be considered for digitization. My colleague Joshua Mason will highlight some of the content of the documents we have declassified.